Up till now, everything we've looked at with our services has been dependent on an application specifically triggering information into our service. The reality is that services often need to go beyond that. Right? Our services, very often, we want them to interact with certain system activity. Right? Things like if your service is running and this device is shut down, have your service gracefully shut down as opposed to just kind of getting its termination request. Or maybe you have a service that you want to have running all the time, or you want to have it pick up from something it was doing when it was shut down, so you want to have the service get a chance to start as soon as the device is booting up. Another critical one is that if your service relies on network resources, you might want to know when the device goes into airplane mode. And another big thing, of course, are the number of power-based events. You want to know when you're on low battery, if the device is plugged into power or unplugged from power. Right? All these sort of things can affect the environment that your service is running in, so you may want to have your service react to them. So in terms of understanding how we can identify the system activity, pretty much all the system events are triggered through something called broadcast intents. Broadcast intents are the standard Android mechanism whose purpose in life is to notify any interested components on the device of major events on the system. Like so much of what happens in Android, it happens through intents, and they're triggered through a very specific type called broadcasts. Now, services cannot directly handle broadcasts. The only kind of component that can actually handle a broadcast intent is what's called a broadcast receiver. So if you want to have your service respond to system events, your only choice really is to build a broadcast receiver and have that receiver call start service to notify your service that those events have happened. Now, in terms of implementing a broadcast receiver, a broadcast receiver is just another Android component. So again, we have to implement a class. In this case, it's going to inherit from broadcast receiver. It has one important method, which is onReceive. We override that because that method gets called whenever we receive a broadcast. And again, what we're going to do inside of that implementation of onReceive is call start service and pass the information to our service. Just like other Android components, our broadcast receiver has to be defined in the Android manifest. There'll be a receiver tag for that. And in order to receive these intents, we of course have to define an intent filter for the broadcast receiver.